Welcome to This Explainer, brought to you by FMI/CTS Wisdom for the Modern World. Today, we're diving into something literally mind-bending, a truly fascinating intersection of ancient faith and cutting-edge technology. We're going to look at how modern AI uncovered a precise step-by-step master protocol for Christian prayer that has literally been hiding in plain sight for millennia. So, it all started with this experiment that completely flipped the script for the researchers involved. A team led by Stanford computational linguistics researcher Dr. Marcus Chin, who, by the way, is a self-described skeptic, along with MIT data analyst Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, decided to feed every single recorded biblical prayer into Elon Musk's Grok 4 AI. Now, Dr. Chin fully expected to find chaos. They were looking for human error, contradictions, a messy patchwork of text spanning 40 authors, 3 languages, and 1,500 years. But shockingly, the AI didn't find errors. Instead, it found one identical, mathematical, non-human access code buried inside every single miraculous outcome. Over the next few minutes, we are going to unpack this astonishing discovery. Here's our roadmap. We'll look at the AI miracle code, then break down the 4 exact steps: the anchor, the alignment, radical surrender, and persistent action. And finally, we'll turn all of this into a highly practical 21-day practice for you. Okay, part 1. The AI Miracle Code. Design discovered. Let's see what the researchers actually found when Grok crunched the numbers. Right out of the gate, the AI highlighted a massive categorical contrast. Modern prayer? Well, it's so often just a frantic shopping list of problems, right? We just launch these desperate requests upward with zero preparation. Health stuff, money issues, relationship crises, just throwing it all at the sky. But the biblical data showed something radically different. Ancient prayer wasn't a desperate plea at all. It functioned as a precise, structured, operational protocol. And that protocol operates on a very specific logic. Grok 4 identified that every prayer resulting in a reality-bending outcome followed the exact same sequence: 4 steps, no exceptions: anchor, align, surrender, and persist. The AI noted that skipping even one of these steps basically collapses the entire sequence. Let's jump into part 2. Step 1, the anchor. This step completely contradicts how most of us pray today, because in every miraculous outcome, the prayer never started with a problem. Not once. The sheer statistical weight here is staggering. Starting your prayer with a complete anchor sequence, which basically means a deliberate, focused recognition of the nature and power of God before you state what you need, yields an 89% correlation with positive outcomes. But if you jump straight to the request, that success rate plummets to 17%. As Dr. Chin noted, this step isn't just optional filler, it is absolutely load-bearing. So why does it work so well? It's actually a form of neurological recalibration. Ancient writers basically encoded a technique that produces optimal brain states. Take King Jehoshaphat, for example. 3 massive enemy armies are converging to completely annihilate his kingdom. Instead of panicking and screaming for a rescue, he anchored himself. He made extensive, out-loud declarations about the power of God first. And neuroscience confirms this today. When your brain focuses on something vast and powerful rather than an immediate threat, it shifts out of that fight-or-flight panic mode and into a parasympathetic state of receptive calm. Your prefrontal cortex, your main problem-solving center, literally comes back online. Oh, and by the way, Jehoshaphat's enemies ended up getting totally confused and destroying each other. His kingdom suffered 0 casualties. So establishing that anchor to get out of panic mode is crucial. And that leads us perfectly into part 3. Step 2, the alignment. I absolutely love this concept because it makes so much sense. Think of it like radio frequencies. If you're broadcasting all your personal desires on 101.5, but the receiver you're trying to reach is tuned to 98.7, it doesn't matter how loud you yell, the signal is never going to arrive. Misaligned requests just create static. But aligning your prayer to serve a larger, higher purpose clears the channel entirely. It's all about tuning your request to the frequency the receiver is actually monitoring. And the data proves this relentlessly. Let's look at a couple of case studies. For years, Hannah prayed for a son purely out of personal grief, and nothing happened. But the AI caught a pivotal shift in the text. She eventually aligned her desire with something way beyond her own personal benefit, dedicating her future son to serve a higher purpose. Boom, she received Samuel. Or take Solomon. He could have asked for personal wealth or military might, but he asked for wisdom to properly lead his people, a request completely aligned with service. The language in these texts is super specific. There's no begging. It's just clear requests for positioning within a higher purpose. One researcher put it brilliantly. It's the difference between a child screaming for candy and an employee submitting a proper purchase order. They're both requests, but only one is actually going to get processed. Which brings us to part 4, step 3, radical surrender. I have to tell you, this is the step that literally kept MIT data analyst Dr. Okonkwo awake at night, just staring at her ceiling. Grok 4 flagged these exact words from Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane as the single moment of highest recorded power in the entire dataset. Think about it. You have a leader facing unimaginable, horrific suffering, asking for the pain to pass. He makes a specific request, but then he adds 5 words that change everything. Not my will, but yours. This illustrates what the AI labeled the surrender paradox. Prayers that demanded specific outcomes at all costs, they yielded the absolute lowest correlation with miracles. Grip creates static. But the highest power correlation belonged to prayers that made a bold, very specific ask, but then completely surrendered the final outcome. It's a state of active trust. Modern psychology actually calls this radical acceptance. When your brain stops fighting your present circumstances and releases its white-knuckle grip on the outcome, you free up massive cognitive and spiritual resources that you were previously just burning on resistance. Finally, we arrive at part 5, step 4, persistent action. And honestly, this entirely destroys our modern vending machine fallacy of prayer. When you analyze the timeline, the AI found that significant miracles were almost never associated with single, one-off requests. It requires repetition. In fact, the average time between an initial prayer and a recorded outcome in the dataset was 23 days. Daniel persisted for 21 consecutive days before an answer arrived. The prophet Elijah prayed 7 distinct times before seeing even a tiny cloud in the sky. Persistence isn't just a nice suggestion, it's a structural requirement. So we really have to ask ourselves, is this delay just waiting time? Is God just hitting the snooze button? The AI's analysis implies that it absolutely is not an unfortunate lag or a rejection. The gap between your request and the result is essential architecture. It's designed to develop your character, build up your certainty, and clarify your intentions before the breakthrough happens. It tests whether you actually believe what you're asking for and if you can maintain your alignment when nothing appears to be happening. Let's be real, most people quit on day 4 because they just assume silence means rejection. All right, part 6, your 21-day practice. Now that we understand the deep data, the science, and the scripture behind this master protocol, let's talk about how you, as a Christian, can practically apply this in your life today. You have the mathematical access code now. A data scientist on the team, James Rodriguez, actually tested it himself. He reported that within 3 weeks, situations in his life that had been stuck for months suddenly started resolving. But remember, it requires structured consistency over time to actually do its work in your heart. It's a daily practice, not a quick transaction. So here are your exact marching orders to build this practice over the next 21 days. First, anchor. Spend 60 to 90 seconds deliberately naming God's attributes and power to drop that panic before you state your need. Second, align. Reframe your desire to serve a purpose beyond just yourself. Make it a purchase order, not a tantrum. Third, surrender. Ask boldly for sure, but physically write down a statement releasing the outcome entirely. And fourth, persist. Commit to a 21-day minimum, log every single session, do not quit on day 4, and resist the urge to change your request mid-cycle. Just let the protocol run its course. The only question left is this. Are you going to continue treating prayer like a frantic, desperate tantrum, just broadcasting static on the completely wrong frequency? Or are you ready to step into the powerful, structured discipline that ancient believers knew all along? It's time to submit the proper purchase order. Try this 21-day protocol and see what happens when you finally tune in.